Super. All right, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy February 2nd, 2024. Woohoo! And welcome to today's live. I have been so anticipating this series that is coming up. Black women making history out here on YouTube, on social media, as creators, as influencers, and in business, and all things wonderful as we are. So, without further ado, I want to bring on my guest and for those of you who don't know me, I am Danny, social worker and aromatherapist, where I marry the two to help enhance our overall quality of life and well-being. So let's get right into it. Welcome all, welcome all. Now, this guest hasn't been on the channel for I think about a year. And I'm super excited to have her back. Last time she was here, it was more of her. I'll let her explain. The last time she was in 2022. So let me introduce my wonderful and special guest, Sam. She is a solo mama of 3 beautiful children and an avid investor who reached Coast 5, also known as fully funded retirement. Woohoo! Who is preparing to move abroad in a few years. On her platform, Black Women Build Wealth, she talks about freedom, right? One way of she has chosen to do so is by helping other Black women invest and protect their assets, which I find absolutely admirable, right? Who couldn't use help with that? And she also coaches women getting ready for solo parenting and also who is preparing to give birth abroad. So if you think about doing that or you know somebody who is, most definitely share this video with them. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring on my Sam of Black Women Build Wealth. Woohoo! Help me sell it. Like, woohoo! Got my little banner here. Look, I'm breaking it up. Oh, it's so nice to have you.
Hi, Danny. Hi, everyone. Oh my God, what an introduction. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be
Oh,
here.
the honor is all mine, sweetheart. You are anybody who's been on Black Women Build Wealth lately, you know she got some news coming up. I'll let her talk more about it this coming week. So I feel blessed, y'all, that she took the time on this Friday, her last Friday, to spend time with me and us. So I am super excited about this.
Me too.
Oh goodness. Well, welcome back.
Thank
The
you.
last time you were here was in 2022,
Mhm.
and it was more of you then. You
Yeah,
want to you were expecting your twins then,
correct.
and getting ready to move or not
Mhm.
move. You were going to
Yeah,
another place for the winter, right?
exactly.
And now she's two less of her, but on the outside, right? I, I'm so thankful that you took this time to spend back because you've been off for a year,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
And you're getting ready to go back to the W word or the
mhm.
J word
Yeah. The,
next
the job.
the JOB next week after being a year on mat leave.
Yeah.
And that, again, absolutely precious. And I appreciate you being here. So
Mhm.
just to get started, for those of you who don't know, and you may have seen her channel, but tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to create Black Women Build Wealth channel.
Well, Danny, again, thank you so much for having me on your channel, kicking off your series of Black women making history. Because I looked at the lineup and I felt humbled. I'm like, okay, that's honestly, it's great. So thank you so much for having me starting this series that I'm looking forward to as well for the month of February. So, again, welcome everyone and happy um, Black History Month. My name is Mira. People call me Sam. I currently live in Ottawa, Canada. I'm originally from Benin. And I've been living in Canada for over close to 25 years now. So it's been a while that I've
Okay.
been in Canada. And so, as Danny mentioned, I am a solo mama of three beautiful kids, a 4-year old and 11 months old twins.
Oh my
And after 12 months mat leave, I'm gearing up to go back to my job next week. And so I have the YouTube channel Black Women Build Wealth. I created that channel for Black women that I because I really want Black women to focus on building wealth. And the reason why, I think the first reason that comes to mind is really because growing up in the
God.
culture where I was raised,
Hmm.
uh, usually women when they get married they will move with the man. They will move with their husband.
Okay.
And honestly, if everything goes well, that's fine. It's a happy ending. They lovely family, they have kids and everything. But when things don't go well,
Mm. Right.
unfortunately, what would happen, what I would see a lot as a young girl, was
Okay.
the woman having to move back with her parents. And honestly, there was a bit of shame coming with that, right? Because you're
Okay.
like, "Oh my God, now my daughter who was married now, comes back home," and a lot of them it was very difficult. And so that was one thing. Or sometimes, honestly, you will see women staying in marriages that were not really serving them, that they will just decide to stay there because they had kids, and honestly, they didn't know how to live on their own, by themselves. They needed to have the husband income to make
Okay.
them live. So in my mind as a young girl, I was just like, regardless of what's gonna happen, I need to
Right.
make sure that I have my money right, that I have my own house, and and I can also have my own retirement plan for, right? So then if I
Right.
meet the man, he's going to complete me as a person and not make who I'm going to be.
All
And
right.
so, and what happened is really that, in some circles where we talk a lot about financial independence, financial freedom, there are
Right.
not many of us. There are not many Black people to start with, and there are not many Black women.
Okay.
And I want that to change. I think we can. There is a strong case for Black women to be focusing more on their money and investing and growing their wealth. And so that's why I created the YouTube channel Black Women Build Wealth.
Absolutely admirable. I can so relate to everything that you just said. And one of the things I'll say this out loud is when I don't even know if my other half knows this, but when I first get engaged, my mom was like, I love my son-in-law to be, right, but just in case,
Mhm. Yeah.
you make sure that you're able to take care of yourself.
Mhm.
And just being the independent women that we are, it's like, yeah. So it's an added bonus, but you also need to be able to take care of yourself if the circumstances allow. I know that there are certain circumstances, arranged marriages, and different aspects of different cultures all over the world. I get that.
Yeah.
But if you have the opportunity,
Mhm.
right, then it is best. Speaking of which, you mentioned that on that note, you're doing something special right now on your channel. And in today's live, I caught it right before our live. I was too tickled. What was today's live, and what were you talking about? And tell them what you're doing now for the month of February. You started
Wow.
in January, and now in the month of February.
Yeah, I know, and I'm so surprised that I'm actually still here doing it. But yeah, so I am doing a challenge, a YouTube challenge, where I'm putting a video out there every day. We started January 14th, so we're going to be doing this all the way to February 12th. So it's been it's been a ride, definitely. And actually, today my video was about 3 fast tracks to financial freedom,
Okay.
um, sharing, I guess, like things that I actually think that if if they want to take that route, that actually can help them reach financial freedom.
Right.
So you guys can go, like, I those series of videos, they have been really taking up a lot of my time. But you know what, Danny, I actually enjoy it because I realized doing it that I really enjoy the whole content creation,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to share. I really, want to build a community where we get to share and build together. And I'm always looking forward to the comments and interacting with people. And it's been a very interesting journey so far, I have to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. And I'm so commend you for doing the 20, 30 and 30 rather. You on day 20 though, is what I want to say. And you didn't think that you was gonna make it.
I know, I know, I know. But you know what? You just take it one day at a time, one step, in front of the other. That's what I've been committing to. It's like, yeah.
Well, we thank you for showing up and dropping some gems that you've been dropping, and it is absolute honor, to hear those things, and you doing what you're doing, and trying to make a positive difference in our lives, right? That you care enough to take the time to do that. Like I said, you're a mom of three. You're busy enough, right? And having a YouTube channel. For some of you who don't know, me and Sam, we started at the same time,
Yeah.
right? And had we known all the things that were going along with it, being production and lighting and all the things, it's like, whoo,
It's work. It
it
is work.
is work. It is work. So
Yeah.
the fact that you showing up and doing the thing and all the responsibilities that you have now, I commend you, sweetie.
Thank
There's
you.
some days where I'm like, oh, okay. So, all right. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And getting to, speaking of which, as a solo mama, you're an avid, you talk about being an avid investor. We mentioned that in your intro.
Yeah.
How your personal journey led you to achieve Coast 5. For those of us who don't know what that means, it means financial freedom. So what does you touched on that on some of your 30 and 32, but what does financial freedom mean to you?
So yeah, so financial freedom to me, it means it means having options. Having options.
Yeah.
And having options in terms of how I want to allocate my time.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm not there yet, because if I was there, then going back to work next week will not be an option.
That's right.
Or at least will be an option that I would have not considered, compared
Right.
to now, I have to go back to work. So for me, it's honestly about being able to allocate my time the way I want. As you
Okay.
mentioned, and as I mentioned too, being a solo mom of three, and they're still young, it's a lot of time, but actually they grow so fast. And I feel like, not being able to spend as much time that I want with them, it's
Right.
going to be, I feel like, doing the work or doing anything that I really don't want to do is taking time away from being with them, right? So,
Right.
so to me,
So
it's a matter of having options. Yeah.
right. And speaking of which, now, if you don't mind me saying, the gender of all your
Yeah.
so you have all boys,
Yes.
right? Which I thought about right before this live, and I'm like, she has all boys, but her channel is Black Women Build Well. How? So are you gonna pivot maybe at some time or another and be like, and Black men build wealth too?
No, actually, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I'm also part of an association where we focus on Black women in business,
Okay.
and all of us on the board,
Uh-huh.
we all have boys. All of us until now,
Right.
we all have boys. I think we like 6 or 7 children right now, and they're all boys. And we always joke, we're like, here we are, trying to really help Black women in business,
Right.
and so for me, I actually see it as we don't really care that much, but it's just really funny that it kind of like came like that. So we kind of like on the lookout for who's gonna be the next one to be pregnant, and then have a daughter, or maybe definitely confirm that we can only have boys,
Right.
and that's fine. But no, I actually I'm very strong about advancing the Black woman, um, in every category, but mainly when it comes to money, because like I say, money gives you freedom, gives you option.
Right.
And I've just seen too many Black women, raising so many kids and being everything to everyone, getting their golden age, and not being able to, just like, afford the basic needs for themselves, and still having to rely on family to help them, or like having to work. And my goal is really to make sure that, Black women, all Black women get their money together, so they can actually really live the life that they want, and not have to, like, find themselves in retirement age, still
Right.
having to work, or relying on people for their living. So that's really what I want to avoid as much as possible.
Right. And you touched on something important. I don't know if it was you, and forgive me if it was, or somebody else out there was talking about they met a lady in the grocery store. She was an older lady, and she didn't. She was trying to impart on the young man that she met to
Oh
do
yeah.
everything. Was that you?
So I talked about it in my video. That was Anthony O'Neill. He has a YouTube channel called The Table with AO. And so he was talking about him being in a hotel room, and he came back earlier, and the person who was cleaning was still in there, and there was a lady probably in their 70s, 60s, 70s who was cleaning. And he really felt bad, because it's like, my mom is, probably around the same age, and it's like, and I'm not seeing my mom cleaning anyone's room at
Right.
the age that she's at. And so he literally told the lady, please, stop cleaning my room, just give me some lotion and some soap, and
Right.
I'll take care of things myself. And she's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, no, definitely, don't do that. And then he gave her like a nice tip and everything. And so before she left, she turned to him and she's like, young man, don't make the same mistake that I made at your age, to find yourself still working at my age right now. And so that was a very telling moment for him, and it really broke my heart when he told that story, because I was just
Right.
like, nobody wants to see their mom in her 60s and 70s still having to work. And I'm pretty sure that lady, I'm not sure, but I'm not going to say pretty sure, but probably that lady has, raised so many kids, and helped so many people, probably poured her money into making other people, and now she's finding herself, in her golden age, because she forgot about the most important person in her life,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Which
who's her, who really, pouring in her own cup and making sure that it stays full at all times. That's what we forget a lot, Black women, because we focus on helping so many other people, but forgetting that the most important person in our lives are ourselves.
absolutely, absolutely. I love that story, and I'm so glad that you repeated it. And I heard it. I was like, oh, yeah. And if you want to, it's nothing wrong with finding employment, still working beyond there. But if you enjoy it, but not because you have to.
Correct. Yes.
You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
I just a case in point. I saw an article about a 92-year-old Black doctor in New York who was still working,
Yeah.
but she enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So but not because maybe because she had to, but because she enjoyed it.
Yeah. I honestly don't think anyone in their 60s, 70s are cleaning anyone's room because they enjoy it.
Not exactly, and
That's
not. I hear what you're saying.
you know.
Exactly. But if it's something that you enjoy, then
Yeah.
yes, most definitely. And you said something important about filling up your cup, making sure that your
Yeah.
cup is full, which brings me to the next question I want to ask you about. You talk about investing and protecting your assets.
Hmm.
So that part of that protection, why do you like focus on that niche? I mean, like when you're talking.
So what I've come to realize is that women in general,
Mhm.
we like to talk about the short term thing, like budgeting and paying down debt, which are important, 100%.
Mhm.
They are important. However, that's not how we are going to be building wealth.
Right.
So definitely it's good to talk about, paying down debt and budgeting, because those are like the foundations of our wealth
Right.
system. However, the investing and the making sure that our assets are protected, that's how we're going to make sure that we literally making interest work for us. So interest,
Right.
will either work for you or work against you. So if you're in debt, it's working against you. So you want to invest, so interest is working for you. And that's part of the wealth building. I feel like women in general, it's not talked enough. We don't talk about it enough among ourselves. And I think also, like, media and everything, and also the culture and the education is also made like that, because so
Mhm.
many times you hear people like, you know a lot of us haven't gotten any financial literacy when we were growing up. Parents were not talking about money around us, so we had to learn a lot by ourselves. And so one thing that I realized is, even in my circle of friends, it's not really something that we talk about right away. It's not,
Right.
but I'm like, but that's really important, right? So I found myself, as I was really gravitating to financial freedom, to be in circle where really there are like no other Black person. That's just
Yeah.
what it is, and leave alone a Black woman. And so I feel like that needs to change. Right now, less than 30% of investors are women. So definitely, even a smaller percentage of that are Black women. It's changing now. I think, like, in the past couple of years, a lot of things are changing, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And so we need to be intentional about that. And a lot of women, you know, one thing that sometimes we get told as women is that we have some traits as women that actually don't work for us. So let's say we hesitate a lot about making a decision. Well,
Okay.
in investing, it might not be a bad thing to be just someone who's not impulsive, someone who needs to research a lot, because that's actually what you want to do before you put your money into buying something. Instead
Right.
of, maybe men will tend to make decisions quickly, and sometimes it works or sometimes it doesn't work. But if you want to invest long term, you really want to take the time to think about the holding that you want to buy, because once you buy it, you want to keep it for the long term and let the interest compound as it should. So I think that's why it's something that we really need to. That's why I focus on that, because even now, if you go on YouTube and you look at the majority of people who have like a YouTube channel talking about budgeting, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them are women. But
Okay.
when you look at on the investment part, the majority of people talking about investing are men. But we all
Mm,
need to build the wealth. As a matter of fact, women, we even need to build the wealth more than men. We
right.
tend to live longer most of the time. And sometimes a lot of us, when we, let's say, if we married and we divorce, we find ourselves in, a financial, almost financial disaster, and not having any financial literacy, no cushion, no investment, nothing to fall back on. It's really tough, right? So,
Yeah.
and we don't even talk about generational wealth at that point, which is super important as well. And
Right.
so I want to shift that focus on conversation from the short term, which is like paying down the debt and budgeting, and which is totally fine. But I feel like we have talked about it for a long time, and
Right.
and then now move to the investing part,
Doing.
the
Yeah.
generation, the generational wealth part, the making sure we have the proper insurance in place, the will, the estate, all of that we need to put that in place, because that's what's going to be making really our wealth system strong and,
Hmm.
and sustainable for the future.
Absolutely. And you dropped a lot of gems in what you just said. And I just want to highlight some things here. You're talking about the investment piece and money making money. Is I've heard somebody say you want money making money babies.
Yeah, exactly. Coach Malika, that's what it is. It's like, you want your money to make money babies. Exactly. That's what she said. And that's what compound interest is. That it's beautiful. It works so well when you make it when you let it do what it does the best. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you talked about in that investing, you mentioned about 30% of us are not investing or
yeah.
and you're actually going to address more about that, which I'm super excited about as well. You have a collaboration coming up with somebody we both know who's going to be on here later on this month.
Yeah.
Miss, you want to tell us about that?
Yes.
Just
So from Life to Legacy, Sandra, we have also a live coming up. So essentially she just started this series that is called Money After Dark. I love the name. And
yes,
so really we're going to be talking about, I guess, like money topics that most advisors or most people don't want to talk about, which are still important, right? So something like, are you going to put the prenup in place if you get married? Are you going to get a postnup? All of those things that are really important, which could be like an issue for finances if the relationship doesn't go well and whatnot. So that's what we're going to be addressing in the live that we're going to do this month. So I'm excited because when you look at also the rest of the other Black women who are joining, they have we all like money, I guess, money coaches, money strategists,
right.
but we come from different angle, and so that will be it's definitely something to look forward to. And so that will be on her channel, From Lack to Legacy, and I know that you'll be having her also later this month on this series.
Yeah, I so look forward to it because it brought me to, you mentioned about having your circle. You mentioned something
Mhm.
about having that circle of women who are speaking the same language, talking the same things with the same goals is helpful. So to
Yeah.
have all of you together, that's going to be fabulous. I look forward to that. Look forward to that. And before I forget, let me say hi to, I know Marilyn stopped by earlier. If you're still here, sweetheart, thank you. Appreciate you even stopping by, sweetie. And then thank you, LXNCFKA, Sexy LX. I'm saying it right. Thank you for stopping by. And so going back to that circle piece and having people in community, because sometimes you might not have a lot of people in your immediate circle who you can
Mhm.
talk to,
Mhm.
and if you have one person who you can
Mhm.
talk to about things financial, that's wonderful. it's,
Yes.
it's another person. It's one thing to have a partner, but I'm talking about another sister friend who you can
Mhm.
maybe let your hair down with and run things by and say, well, what about this and what do you
Yeah.
think about that, and you encourage each other.
Yeah. So that's what that honestly I want to see changing, especially in the Black community, because we have made money, talking about money, so taboo. Meanwhile, we use money every day. Our lives evolve around money. The job we do, where we live, the car we drive, the the vacation we take, all of that,
Right.
involves money. And
Uh-huh.
so when you look at it, a lot of us, we end up learning about money our own way. Some of us are lucky, then we get into circles or people are really open to talk about it and we can learn quickly. And for a lot of us, we go, the I guess the back doorway, which is essentially making all the wrong decisions, because I made a lot of those wrong decisions before figuring things on my own. And luckily, at one point I got into circles where there are like many people who wanted to build financial freedom, financial independence. And that's where the conversation, went to a certain level where I felt like, okay, I'm totally comfortable talking about money. I'm totally talking about my investment strategies. And it just feels so natural, so seamless. And it's good to have those type of circles or that type of person, because they become your,
Yes.
your sounding board. Your sounding board, and it's almost like, if you want to stop smoking, you need to be able to talk about, to someone, not only a therapist, but hopefully you have someone else that you can talk to about it. And that's going to make a good difference in how how quickly you can actually stop smoking. Same thing for investing, or same thing for building wealth. It's also like,
Mm-hmm.
some people are really good, some people are very disciplined, you
Yes.
can get things done on their own. But for the majority of us, including me, I need to have accountability. I need to have that community support, that I can
Yes.
actually go to, and like get some information from and contribute to as well. And that really makes a difference. That's the way I've seen myself in terms of being able to hit goals. Even
Yeah.
that 30 that I'm doing, I'm not doing it alone. There are like 5 or 6 other Black women content creator here on YouTube who are doing it as well. And we have a WhatsApp group where we keep on encouraging each other, because it's not easy, right? So same thing for investing, same thing for building the wealth. You need to find your community. And for that, actually, I created the Wealthy Black Women Summit
Yeah.
Facebook group, which is mainly for Black women, actually exclusively for Black women building wealth. And that's my summit that I have. And there is a Facebook group for that.
All right. And say that again. So it's a black, wealthy black woman, just like on your handle. That's the
Yes.
Facebook group. All
Yes,
right.
the Wealthy Black Women Summit. So it is a growing group, because I just started the summit last year, so it's still, quite small. And I have to say that I haven't been interacting much in the group because life. But my hope is this month, and at I guess like maximum March, that's where I'll be able to get into some sort of cadence of posting and exchanging with the group members.
Oh, awesome. And I love that you're creating that community because that's what it's about, right? And supporting each other and loving on each other. And how I found you and we found each other in that community and keep that accountability going. And it's
Mhm.
wonderful when you can speak to those of us about and feel comfortable, like you said, talking about money because it can be taboo and everybody doesn't want to talk about it for
Yeah.
whatever reason. So, but yeah, so I just want to shout out to Marilyn. She said, I'm still here. she said, I'm working out and while listening. I know that's the best way to look at your YouTube videos. I
Yes.
do the same thing. I be listening to Sam some days. Okay, let me get my workout on.
Yeah.
Oh, this brings me to my next question. So you were talking about community and having that connection with others. Now you coach,
Mhm.
you do money coaching, right?
Yes.
You offer that as a service. How do you, when you do that, how do you approach finances within your coaching sessions? Like, how do
Mhm.
you think it's received, or what has been your experience? When you are coaching or money coaching.
So usually when my customers they come to me, they know we're going to be talking about money. That's what we're going to be talking about.
Uh-huh.
But and mainly we're going to be talking about investing, because
Okay.
how your investment doing. And I'll say, for most of them, I guess like we probably half. Some are already investing, some are not, and they want to get into investing. And one thing that I've realized is that there is a bit of work to be done before we even get started with the whole discussion of investing, which is essentially the money mindset. It is a big thing. And That has actually made me very interested in the whole money psychology and
Mm,
how people perceive money. Because sometimes things that are really straightforward for me, then I talk, we talk about it, and then I realize that that person is totally different, right? So I need to get to their level and understand where they're coming from, put myself in their shoes, so I can help them achieve what, because they really truly want to get into the whole investing
right.
and putting in place a system for them to succeed at
Mhm.
building wealth. But sometimes there are some challenges that we need to address before we even get to the discussion on investing. And so that's why a lot of my customers, and I tell them, well, when they book the single coaching, I'm like, we'll see if we can make it happen. Because one thing that I've realized for me, when I started coaching, I felt like, 1 hour coaching will be good. We'll talk, I'm not a financial advisor or financial planner, but we'll talk. We'll kind of like set up your strategy. You know what you're going to be investing on. We'll set up your system and everything, and you're good
Uh-huh.
to go. And then I realized that there's much more. There's so much more, and I'm like, there's no way I can address this in one session. So a lot of them end up kind of like, booking the three, a bundle of 3 sessions, or like a bundle of 5 sessions, because there's a bit of work. And my goal is that for you, when you set that up, that's
Mhm.
something that you're going to keep on doing, because, and that's why I take the time to address any issues, any foundational issues that might actually um, hinder the system that you want to put in place for your investment. Because if you don't believe in it, you don't trust it, or you don't change some of the behaviors you have, the chances of that system, becoming
Working. Right.
exactly, it's not gonna work. And so, my goal is not for you to get coaching from me for life. So my goal is that I'm going to help you get to a certain level where you're going to have your own system, and then once you put that in place, you forget about it, right? Because you automate everything, and all that. You might review it once in a while, once every 6 months, or once every year, but the majority of the work has been done. And so that's one thing that definitely, I'm just realizing that it's not just about getting to the whole discussion of investing and protecting assets. There is also the money mindset, which I've been taking
Mhm.
time to talk about with my customers lately.
Yeah. And that brings me to, I've heard a term called your relationship with your money. There
Yes,
is a relationship. What has been your past relationship with
yes.
money? And that might dictate how you feel emotionally about money. Are you distant about money?
Yeah.
Are you just
Or
like,
like, your money personality, and that's something
yes,
I
thank
talked
you.
about recently on HND Abroad.
Okay.
They've been doing a series on money lately, and so they were kind enough to have me on their channel, and we talked about the money personality. And that's something that, again, probably not even 2 years, I didn't even know that was the thing that could really impact your investment. But really, you need to know yourself. What is your personality? What is the primary one? What is the secondary one? And so that's gonna help you, because once you know, you can put in place, like the guards, like the safeguards you need to put in place to,
Right.
maybe prevent you, if you're like a spender, to prevent you from spending too much money, and then at the end of the day not having enough money to put in your investment. So that's one thing that we want to avoid. But when people don't really take the time to self-assess that way, it's really hard for them to commit to any. Your system can be brilliant on paper, it can be like such a great system, this is gonna work, you continue
Right.
doing this for 15-20 years, and then you're good. Because there is like, and it's not therapy, it's nothing, but it's like people are just who they are, who they have been, you know for years and years. You're not going to change that overnight, so it takes a bit of time. But again, it, as long as people are willing to do the work, because their why is really strong. And I
Yeah.
really take the time to talk about the why, because yes, you can be like, I want to invest, but why do you want to invest? Like in my case, I want to reach some sort of like financial freedom, even if it's not the full financial freedom, but some sort of financial freedom to have option on how I would like to allocate my time. Because right now I don't feel like
Yes.
I have that option. And unfortunately, it's either you have the time or you have the money. So at this point, I don't have the money
Right.
yet. So unfortunately, I can't dictate what my time is going to be allocated to. But once I have the money, then I can dictate what my time is going to be allocated to. And it's a strong why for me, because again, I want to spend more time with my kids, and also on working on things that really do matter to me, which I don't have the time to work on right now. So it's really, there's a lot of different things like that that
Right.
come together. But that's the way that I approach my session. And personal finances, I keep on saying it in my video, and maybe people will get tired, but I'm going to say it again. Personal finances is really that personal.
Right.
Um, so I approach my each of my session with my customers that way. I'm going to be learning about a new person
Mhm.
and their behavior, their goals, their why, their life, and we're going to take it from there, essentially. And I really enjoy my one-on-one because I get to really see the change, the transformation, literally,
Okay.
of my customers from the beginning to the end when we actually done with the process.
Right, absolutely. And I'm sure they are absolutely learning some gems like, oh my goodness, sometimes it just takes that little nudge, that
Mhm.
dropping that seed to open up people's eyes of the possibility of what they could do. So I commend you for doing that. And I'm sure there's some women out here who are just being freed. Like, yes, I can do that too.
Yes, we can.
And you mentioned something about also about, I think it's in your 30 and 30. You were talking
Yes.
about some things that you can do. Like, for
Mhm.
example, automation. That's
Yes.
piqued my interest. I'm like, oh yes, most definitely automation. Because I don't know about you, but I don't like spending, it could take me a couple hours to figure out, okay, what I want to do and want to do for that. But once it's set, it's done.
Yes. Yes.
I don't like to revisit that all the time. I just like
Mhm.
to know that it's on automation
Yeah.
and be
And
done
and
with.
it saves you a ton of time. It reduces
Yes.
your money stress, and it just makes the whole process less scarier. So, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. It's nothing to be said about having stuff that's done for you. We about working easier these days,
Mhm.
right? Stephanie Perry said we in ease. We ain't trying to work that hard. I love it.
100%.
I love it. Oh, I'm gonna shout out to Marilyn. She said, "Thank you, fantastic ladies. I'll finish on the replays. Enjoy your weekend." All right, thank you
Hi,
for joining
Marilyn.
us. Much love. Which got me to thinking about, okay, so you talk about automation, of course, other gyms. And like we mentioned earlier, if you haven't seen her 30 and 30, go back and watch the first 19 and 20, right? And get ready for 10 more, right? We're going to pray for that she finish, y'all. She's going back to work. But the question I want to ask is, could you share some highlights on your investment journey and any lessons that you learned along the way? Like maybe you started investing, you didn't know what you was doing, or maybe you started day trading and you was like, oh, I need to learn more. Or I got
Danny,
into this and I'm like, what am I doing? You know?
you know what? There is a lot of dead confession video on YouTube, and I've watched few of them, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do an investment losses confession, something like that, because
Okay.
it's just I didn't really have an amount of debt that was too much. So, but in terms of investment, and people are always shocked when I tell them, but I'm like, this is when we say you learn by doing, and you're
Right.
going to be making mistakes. You are
Right.
going to fail at times. But instead of seeing that as the end of the all, you just take that as data. Then you brush it off, you go back on
Right.
your feet, and you just go back at it. Because the proof is in the pudding. Most
Right.
people who are wealthy have done so by investing, even if it's not investing in the stock market, which is the one that I speak, I guess I talk about the most. It's investing in real estate, investing in a business, investing in you name it. But it's really investing in something that they know over the long term will bring them additional capital. And so you know what? I When I started investing, I started very, I'll say, more conservatively. So I
Okay.
started with
Okay.
what
Uh-huh.
we have in Canada, we call guaranteed investment certificate, which is, I
Okay.
guess, like a CD for you guys.
Okay.
So very safe, and the rates were really good back then. And so I
Okay.
felt like it was a way for me to make sure that my return was safe. And then as I was reading investment books, money books, and I realized that I needed to get into the stock market.
Okay.
And so for me, getting to the stock market was to buy single stocks, which I did for a long time. And I lost money. I made some, but I also
Okay.
love money.
Okay.
And so I have a background in finance. So reading financial statement is not an issue for me.
Okay.
And I also worked in commercial loan. And so I was even for my work, I was reading financial statements. And so that was not intimidating to me. But the
Mm.
thing is, once you have 15, 20 companies that you are following, at one point it becomes a job. But that's not supposed to be, right? Because you have
Right.
your own job, you have your
Right.
life.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you don't want to be reading financial statement. My job is already reading financial statement. And on top of that, I'm reading financial statement for my stock holdings and the quarterly, and then the semi-annual, the annual, trying to stay afloat of the news and everything. And it was training. It was a lot of work. And
Yeah.
so as I was learning, then I got into mutual funds, which was different from holding single stocks and eventually ETFs. I'll say my portfolio right now is probably half ETF and single stock because there are like some companies that I really, really love. And
Okay.
I'm always reading about them anyway. So I felt like it was okay for me to keep them. But I'll say I'll probably got rid of the major part of my stock holdings, single stock holdings, and then I put them into ETFs. But I learned a ton. I lost. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, I made so much money and I've always made money investing. No, you're gonna lose money. That's what I tell my customer. Expect to lose, but just know also that you realize the loss when you sell the asset. So maybe on paper the market is not doing so good this month and you're down 10% and you feel like, oh my God, I'm losing money. Well,
Right.
technically you're not because you haven't really sold the asset yet. So, but I tell people if you want to sell it, go ahead and sell it. That's your decision. But just
Right.
know that that's when you're going to realize the loss. And now then you can say that you really lost the money. So that's,
Right.
two different things but again, money is really emotional and nobody wants to be seeing this portfolio take a 10-20% hit, but that's just the nature of the market. At the end of the day, you're investing for the long term. So the little hiccups on the short term, it's fine. Just expect it,
Right.
accept it, and just move forward. That's not going to be a. But I will make a video actually on my investment losses, and
Uh-huh.
probably it's going to be the first time that I'm so public about this. So we'll
Uh-huh.
see how that goes. But I can say that I probably lost close to 100,000, if not more, when it comes to
Mm.
my investment. But at the same time, I was able to at least make some other really good decisions, which has helped me to have to be close to five today. So even if I lost, or some people are like, oh my God, that's a lot of money, 100,000. I agree. But I
Right.
made some other great decisions. I learned from those mistakes, and that
Right.
has really helped me to be where I'm at today. So, except to make mistakes, and that's just the nature of things.
Oh, maybe we'll get a part of your 30 and 30.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that's part of my 30 and 30 as a matter of fact. So, expect that to come. Mhm.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. And you touched on some points that you talk about the confession thing. So, right, I'm
Yes.
telling this confession out today. So, when I first learned about investing in 401ks and all the things with my job, it's like I'm first in my career, right? 25 plus years ago, y'all. There was the way it was presented to me was Greek because nobody in my immediate circle told me about 401ks or 403bs or whatever the thing was, right? That you might be introduced to, that you might want to start investing in, right?
Mhm.
So a representative came to our job, had us in the room, the employees, and all I heard Sam was, this man is going to take my money and do what now? You're going to take it. I'm not going to see it. And I need to leave it somewhere and make it grow. And don't worry about what you just said. Don't worry about the losses and all the things, but trust this is a good option for you in your retirement and financial future. All I heard was, I was like, huh? You going to do who with my what? But because I didn't have anybody in my circle who was
Mhm.
talking about that
Yeah.
thing, right? And so, luckily for me, I left that job, went to another place. And by the time I got to another career move for which I do now, I had more education and there was more information out there. They actually had
Mhm.
webinars for
Yeah.
you to learn and go and sit and
Mhm.
practice and see and stuff. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't this person talking like Charlie from the Peanuts. Wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah. I ain't trying to
I,
hear you.
I totally agree that, companies out there, and they have been trying. They have been trying to really, I guess, improve the language that is actually used when they talk about investment. Granted, there are terms that it is what it is,
Right.
compound interest, talking about bonds, talking about stocks, you need to know what is the difference between the two. But I feel like with the years, from
Mhm.
what I can see, companies have been doing their best to make the language very, less technical and
Mhm.
more day to day. So it's actually, uh, the regular person, the average person on the street will understand what they actually mean, because at the end of the day, yes, it is a good thing to start contributing to your 401k, but a lot of people just like you, that's all they hear. They're like, what do you mean? I'm just, I'm trying to get my my money in order here, and I have bills, and I have student loans, and then you're gonna say that you're gonna take how much from my paycheck to invest it for eventually when I return at 60s. No, I have now problems, and I
Right.
want my money now. I don't want any, but people don't realize, right? But then,
Right.
if I think that they're getting better at it, but I think, like, probably like you say, 15, 20 years ago, except if you were in circles already where they were talking about it, which wealthy people do, and black people, we need to start doing that. What
Right.
people do, they start talking about money around their kids so early,
Yes.
so early, and not just money for the sake of talking about money, but like how to make it, how to build the wealth, how to protect the asset, all of those things. It's really ingrained in them. So you see, like, teenagers from wealthy family, and they're so brilliant in the way that they approach life,
Right.
and it's we need to change in the black community when it comes to that whole being able to discuss about money.
Talking about it sooner. You're right. And the first introduction, so to speak, I got an allowance when I was younger, but the introduction to money, I started working when I was 16. So that
Mm-hmm.
was like, you turn 16, you get a job, and then I had to about my finances, but I still didn't know all the things. I knew I needed to have. I was have money to get to school. I know I needed to have money for lunch or something
Yeah.
like that. But beyond that, I didn't know. So,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely get that. And you talk about something important, the stock market. You said going up and down and things, and that's all I. Speaking of which, what was it in the 2000? Was it 2008 when the stock markets was
Oh yeah, 2000.
doing the thing? Oh Lord, I panicked. When you talking about losing money, and I was sitting there going, I lost about half of that, if not a little bit more. Like, and when you saw those, I was like,
but
oh,
but wait, did you sell?
no, I didn't. You know
Okay,
what I
so
did do?
truly you did not.
What
You
I
did not
did
lose.
do, another confession, what I did is I moved it into a safe vehicle, which is the
Oh no, you did
at,
not do
at,
that.
at the time I did, because I didn't know what I was doing. But about maybe I did that for about a year, and I said, you know what? I let the company's financial advisors take over, and honey, they have done a much better job than me. And I
Yeah.
have a financial advisor I can talk to, and things of that nature, and I see the big picture now. So
Hmm.
when it's doing all of this, I
Yeah.
I do like this.
Exactly. You close your account, you close your laptop, and you just go for a walk, and you're like, market is marketing,
Yeah,
fine, just doing its own thing, and then you just go. Or like, if you have extra money, you just buy more stocks. That's what it is. That's what it is.
absolutely. And learning about those laws, and that brings me like to the education piece of it. Learning about, you mentioned something about who has time to read financial statements and
Mm,
things like that, and do all the things, but it helps to have other people in your circle who can do those things. So having a financial advisor, having a money coach who can shed some light on those things. And
yeah.
one of the I'm grateful for that I have like a group of sisters who we invest as a group.
Hmm.
And so what I don't know, someone else would know, and the other person would know. And we bring all those things to the table to be like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, and we
Yeah.
teach each other.
Yeah.
So that's a blessing if you can get in groups or get in community, or form an
And
investment group.
in the US, you guys have the Better Investing, right? So the Better Investing, there are like groups like that, and I think they're like chapters in different city. So that's something that people can check out, and they're non-for-profit. There is a way for you to get in community with people who want to invest as well and learn the rope of investing. I personally, for me, usually when people start, I'm like, you want to make it simple
Mm-hmm.
for people to get started. I'd
Yeah.
rather see you start with either a mutual fund, an ETF, and 6 months or 1 year down the road, when you're more comfortable with the whole investment portfolio, then you're like, okay, let me just start studying some companies because you want to buy some stuff because you love, I don't know, Microsoft or Apple. But so sometimes I listen to some investment channel and I hear people say, oh, I invest based on the way I feel. I'm like, say what? Like,
I
how?
say that again.
Exactly. I'm just investing based on the way I feel. I can understand you retail
Okay.
therapy or something like that, but like investing for the long term, you probably don't want to do it based on the way you feel. Like, there needs to be some sort of research that's going to be supporting your decision. So then 6 months or like 6 years down the road, when you look at it, you're not scratching your head and be like, why did I buy this stock again? Like, why did I buy this? Because then you can't justify, because someone is asking you, oh, how come you have, you bought this? And you're like, oh, I don't even know. You don't really have anything tangible to tell. Well, that holding should not be in your portfolio because you can't really say why you actually bought it to start with. So that's pitfalls you want to avoid. 100%.
And having a process, and
Mm-hmm.
having been in group or starting an investment group, you will have a process for selecting those stocks, so
Yeah.
it makes sense, like you
Mm-hmm.
just said, and you're not
Exactly.
just doing it based on, oh, I like them,
Right.
or that's nice, that sounds like a nice name of a stock, let me pick that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, having that method and those numbers and all the things, because it can be kind of confusing. Let's be honest. When
Yeah.
you're going on a platform to do any sort of thing financial, be it a trading platform, an investment ETF, all the things, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah. 100%. I agree. I agree.
And
Mm-hmm.
so having that explanation or being with people who can explain things to you, when you can
Makes a
ask
difference.
endless questions, right?
Yeah. It makes a difference for sure. Yeah.
Because if it becomes too intimidating from you, you might sort of back away from it and be like, I don't.
But that's what happened to, actually, I guess that's why we don't have women investing. We should have more women investing. But that's the thing. It's like when they get to the level of investing, the terms get them confused, depending on how to. I mean, though today I think is the best time to invest. It's so affordable. You don't need to go through anyone to invest. You can open your platform,
Right.
your account on any brokerage platform by yourself. There's a lot that you can do by yourself. But us women, we still tend to rely on a financial advisor or like rely on a partner, and
Mhm.
but then ask yourself, of course, God forbid, that if something was to happen to your partner, because like I say, women we tend to live longer than men,
Right.
who's going to be taking over that investment portfolio? And I'm pretty sure we have all heard of horror stories where widows will take their investment portfolio and give it to someone to manage it for them, and within few years that money is gone. So nobody's going to be able to handle your money better than you. And I'm not saying don't work with a financial advisor. Actually, if you feel like you need to work with a financial advisor, go ahead and do it. However, do your own due diligence, do your own
Mhm.
homework. Make sure you understand when they're asking you, when they're talking to you, what they mean, and don't hesitate to ask questions. If
Yeah.
any person you're working with, um, you know, who's handling your money is giving you grief because you're asking them questions, it might be time
Right.
to find someone else because it is in the
Absolutely.
right asking questions as to start. Yeah.
Absolutely. And just like I mentioned about that financial piece, I can pick up the phone and be like, okay, what's this? Do that. And it's wonderful. And you can always have that open dialogue
Yeah.
to know what your money is doing. And that's important,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Um, Pivoting a little bit.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're preparing women who want to solo parent, right? And those
Yes.
giving birth abroad. That
Mm-hmm.
takes finances as well, right? How do you approach coaching in that area? Because that can be challenging in and of itself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and preparing for that.
Exactly. So, I mean, because I've done it,
Right,
Because
right.
I've done it, as you know. So I'm a single mother by choice, in the sense that I've started my family on my own. I don't have a partner yet, and also I've given birth to my twins in
Uh-huh.
Mexico,
Okay.
and so there is a strong financial aspect to that, and I
Use
know that
my
I was
computer
able
back up.
to make a decision for those two, to do those two things on my own.
Whoops, lost you. Sorry. I was trying to highlight you so I can plug up my computer. That ain't working.
It's fine. Um, so um, so yeah, so essentially, because I've done it, and honestly, there are a few learnings that I've had in the process, and I
Okay.
know it could be a very intimidating process,
Okay.
and a lot. But one thing that I don't want is essentially, and this is the only; those are the only two coaching that I do that I'll say are open to not only Black women but all women. And so, because I strongly support women who make those kind of decisions, it does take a lot of strength, a lot of courage, and also money. So I really help them to prepare and just like be ready to get started on that journey of becoming a single mother of choice, or essentially preparing to actually go abroad to give birth for any type of reason. For me, it was because I wanted to get residency in Mexico, and for any other woman, it could be something else. But I'll say that's where I really pair my money and move abroad topics, which are big for me on my platform.
Okay. And you said something important, and with the money piece of it, I think I was sharing with you before.
Mhm.
Do you encourage, because I've heard in circles that if you're thinking about, well, first of all, if you're thinking about having children, you should be putting aside $400 a month for 2 years. Okay. And so would you say that you need that, or not necessarily need that, but in addition to that, if you're thinking about having a child abroad, that there's some other financial factors that you need to consider that $400 a month for 2 years won't cover?
Yes. So when you decide to give birth abroad, so in my case, I live in Canada, so we do pay for healthcare through our taxes. So
Okay.
I won't say healthcare is free. We do pay for that through our taxes, but definitely we are like in a better situation for our healthcare system here compared to you guys in the US.
Okay.
So if I were to give birth here in Canada, I wouldn't have to pay nothing, nothing, $0, like
Okay.
nothing
Okay.
for anything, like and I also have a good insurance to my employer, but that is if I give birth here in Canada, I have access to like a hospital room by myself with everything that I need. I don't need to share the room with anyone, nothing. So, and I can stay there as long as I want because they cover for many days.
Right.
And so going down to Mexico, I didn't have access to all that. I had to find a clinic that I was going to be working with, and that came at a cost. Now, the
Mm.
cost of living in Mexico is definitely more affordable than the cost of living here. But still, it's money that if I had stayed here, I wouldn't have had to pay for. So you need to be prepared financially for that. It's the same, I'm hoping, when you want to buy a house, you just don't decide overnight that you want to buy the house. You start saving toward buying that house. And so you need to really, and of course, you're not going to be able to determine all of your costs, but like the big cost for me was just like, what is the whole healthcare situation would be, and making sure that I was giving myself a buffer because I'm I guess like budgeting for the uh, perfect situation. No need for me to stay in the hospital for 1 week or
Right.
nothing like that. But things could have happened, and then I could have had to pay much more by staying in the hospital for more days than I was planning to. So you
Okay.
still need to budget for that extra in case that might happen. So it's that, and and other things, but a lot of time it can get overwhelming. The two process, whether it is to becoming a single mother by choice or like giving birth, it can become quickly overwhelming because there is a lot of emotion like that will go into that as well. And
Hmm.
so you really find yourself in a position where your money needs to be correct. The money
Mm.
needs to be correct for
Hmm.
what you actually want to do. And and talking about bringing those beautiful kids, into this life, it
Yeah.
is money. Like I shared in actually my video today, I believe it is money. And in the CNBC video that I watched, they say a child costs an average of $17,000 a year until they start going to college. And so that's a lot of money. That's one child. So if you have two, three, four, six on your own, you don't have that luxury of the second income. You have to carry the biggest expenses by yourself, like housing and transportation and groceries and daycare. In my case, that's like one of my top expenses. It's a lot.
Mhm.
It's a lot on one income, right? So the way I approach those coaching is very different from the way that I approach coaching session for investment.
Okay.
But I just want, and probably it's the smaller portion of my coaching that I want actually to grow it, because I want that to become reality for more women out there to realize if I get my money right, and if I have, if I have to, not have to, but if I decide to become a single mother by choice, or if I decide to go abroad to give birth, it's something that I can do. And I don't want money to stop you from doing that. But there is a way, like that we can work together and making sure we put in place a system that is going to be helping you achieve that goal.
Awesome. And that being said, if you don't mind sharing, you could say, no, I don't feel like sharing that, but was it less expensive? I mean, obviously it was less expensive, but let me put it like this. You didn't have health insurance when you went there.
Mhm.
So you had to pay everything by cash.
Correct.
And so no credit card. They only accepted cash for
Yeah.
your medical services.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could pay by credit card, but again, I need to pay my credit card after that.
Right. Okay. And so comparatively, how would you say what was the difference in cost?
Well, in Canada, I would have paid zero
Oh,
dollars.
that's right. Okay, but is it
But
because of your insurance?
because no, because essentially, so here in Canada, we contribute to the healthcare system through our taxes.
That's right. You do, but you have free. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So we have
Okay,
free
I
healthcare
got you.
because
You
everybody
have free health.
contribute to that. And so my costs in Mexico were to the tune of 12,000 Canadian dollars in total.
Okay.
And I still had to leave there, send my kid to daycare because I was with my oldest. We still need to eat. And we were living in what I would consider probably more of a touristy area. And I
Mhm.
got there probably when the high season wanted to start. So housing was not cheap for the entire
Okay.
time that I was there. And again, it did require me to have my money right before going down there, because the last thing you want to do, especially when you're giving birth abroad, is having any money stress. That's
Right.
that's not ideal. It's not ideal for you being pregnant in a country probably that you don't know many people,
Right.
and so it's really not ideal. So again, it's something that you need to work on and have the confidence that you can handle any situation that might arise once you're down there. Because again, most of the situation, money can resolve them. So you want to make sure that you have that accessible.
To you. And you pointed something out. So for those of you, somebody know, drop it in the chat. How much does it cost nowadays in the US to have a child? You may have your insurance cover it, but I'm sure it's not out of pocket cost. How much would you have to pay? I was just wondering, like, what would be the difference? But because your finance was in order, you were able to make that move, make that happen, and not be in
Yeah.
Canada in the
Well,
winter time.
so
You
I
know,
mean, I could have taken insurance going down to Mexico, but the thing is, like insurance policy, they have that waiting period before you get coverage for pregnancy. They'll say you have a waiting period of 9 months. Well, I was already pregnant seven months by then, right? So
oh,
they would, even if I had gotten insurance, like medical insurance, they wouldn't have paid for anything related to the pregnancy because I was already pregnant when I got there. So I had travel medical insurance, but I did not
okay.
have health insurance, which are two
Two
separate
different
things.
things.
Mhm.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes the difference. But the fact that you were able to make that choice to go, and I so celebrated you when you were leaving. I was like, yes, do that thing.
I know. I was like, you think I'm crazy doing that? What do you think of this? Danny was like,
Absolutely.
you go.
It was a once to me. It was not a once in a lifetime, but you had the opportunity to do something different. You made the decision and you went for it, right? But because your finances was in order, you could do that.
Yeah.
I remember you selling. You said you gave some stuff away. You might have sold some stuff, and you just purged. And you was like, "I am out of here."
Yes. And that's, I want to hear more more women in general talk, sharing that kind of,
Right.
stories. Doesn't have to be, becoming single mother by choice or like, but definitely, I just want to hear, okay, specifically more Black women doing, like I said, the irresponsible thing,
Yeah.
right? Because some people will look at it and be like, but that's irresponsible. You have free healthcare in Canada. Why would you go down to Mexico to give birth there where they don't even have a proper healthcare system? They don't even know, but they're just saying it for the sake of saying it.
Right.
But when you know that you have done your due diligence, and you put all of your things in place, just
Right.
go ahead and do it.
Absolutely. And because you did it, your children have Mexican residency,
Yes.
which make
So
you
my children are Mexican. So my twins are Mexicans, and I have permanent residency through them. And my oldest is permanent resident of Mexico through me. So if we decide that Mexico is going to be, our move abroad country when we live, that's like the country we can go live without need for any permit or visa, and I can actually work there as well because I'm a permanent resident there.
and that was to me, that was a money move. Because if you think about it, I know we think about it, but maybe not. But I think about the exchange rate.
Mm.
Because the U.S. dollar to the Mexican dollar, last I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 17?
Yeah, 17, around 17.
$17. So when you're moving to other places, you think about your $1 is equivalent to 17 of theirs, or and higher in some places. I saw, what was it, Vietnam, 1 to 500.
Yeah. So I mean, Canadian dollar is a bit lower than you guys. But I think for us it's around 13 or 14, if I'm not mistaken. But it's still very good because my dollar will go a long way in Mexico for things that I can afford compared to being here in Canada. Let's just say it the way it is. It's I'm feeling the heat right right now, and I'm like, oh my god, when I was down in Mexico, this was like nothing, and now I'm here and I have to pay this such amount. But that's just what it is. Different countries, different realities.
Right. Depending on where you move, you could be an instant millionaire.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Instant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're willing to.
If you're willing to
Yeah.
to go the place, wherever it is that that would afford your money to go further. I'm like, oh, okay. Wonderful. If you think about that, which leads me to my next question about, in a few years, you're planning to move abroad. You
Yes.
want to move abroad. And so I think you're settled on Mexico. Is there any
Yeah,
other
I
places?
mean, it's definitely my top three. It's kind of like my top three. I still have two other countries that I'm considering,
Okay.
Costa Rica and Ecuador.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely Mexico will be in the top three for many reasons. Closer to Canada. We already have the residency there. So yeah, so we'll see. But it's one of the possibilities of spots we might move to.
So is that factoring into your financial planning now? Like, are you like have a fund that says, okay, this is my Mexico fund. this is or are you just thinking about, okay, what I have is what I'll take with me when I go?
Yeah, that would be probably, well, I guess, we'll see when I get closer to the time, but I
What time horizon are you looking at?
I'll say probably maximum 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If they got good Wi-Fi where you at, I have to have you back on when you're there.
Yes. You know what? If you're happy to have me back, and if your audience really enjoy these videos, I'll be happy to come back. And maybe by then I'll be down in. We will have already moved abroad with the kids, and I'll be able to tell you more about the life down there.
Now, you want to permanently move abroad, or have the option to still come back?
Permanently.
Permanent. Okay.
So I'm seeing myself literally quitting my job. I'm working hard on building my business, so my coaching business and also my summit that I started. I'm looking at growing those in the next 2 years. Hoping that my YouTube channel also grow. to the level that it is monetized and start to bring.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I have few things that I'm working on right now, which I'm hoping to. And also, an option is to work remotely, like for any company who will hire me, but I can live anywhere in the world. That will
Hmm.
be probably my option B if really through my business I cannot make enough income to really allow us to live the life that I want to live down there when I move.
Absolutely wonderful. You know, Sam, I celebrate you. You know, I said like, yes, yes, moving. Some other people in my circle who are trying to leave, I celebrate you. We want to, we're gonna get there too.
Yes, yes.
For
So once I
sure.
once I move, I will officially join Stephanie Perry club boycott winter. Yeah,
I
we're looking
understand.
forward to it.
I could do, you know what? I don't mind the winter without the snow. I
Okay.
don't, it doesn't have to be cold. I just don't want the snow and slipping and sliding in it. But
Mm,
yeah,
it comes
I get it.
together.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't like being cold. You see, I'm sitting here with a turtleneck. Cold, yes. Which you pointed on something about your channel. So, what would you say to inspiring content creators looking to address financial topics like you're doing, right? Or um, empower us women or underrepresented communities when it comes to wealth?
I'll say honestly, I'll say do it, and really do it from where you're at right now. Don't be afraid to share your own journey. I feel like sometimes we see people when they have already paid the debt, they have
Yeah.
built everything, and then you wonder, but how did you make it happen? And I'm saying that, but I've been in YouTube less than 2 years, but my whole investing journey was like, I started it more than 15 years ago. By back then I wasn't even thinking of YouTube, but if I had to redo it again, I think I would have started some sort of a channel and show my investment journey the way people right now on YouTube are showing their debt repayment journey. But I would have loved to have something to really show people, because sometimes people just need to see. They're like, yeah, it's nice compound interest, but they can't really relate to it because it's so remote, so foreign to them. But having a channel like that, I'm just giving an example like this. So let's say again, your plan is to open a business, open a restaurant.
Hmm.
Do your YouTube channel in the way that you're documenting your journey, all the way to you opening the restaurant, and people can really see. People are interested, let's say, to see how it is to start a restaurant business. They will
Hmm.
follow you, right? So
Right.
then and I think that's really the beauty of, sometimes it's not so much reaching the goal, but it's really the journey to
Yes.
to get there that is really exciting and that is really inspiring to people. And same thing even for me becoming single mother by choice. 4 or 5 years ago, I wasn't thinking of YouTube. Like I say, I've been here for maybe almost 2 years now. In April, it will be 2 years. I think.
Yep. two
Yeah,
years.
2 years. We'll be celebrating 2 years. But again, I would love for any future single mother, single mother by choice who's listening to this, if that's one thing that you're considering, if you don't mind, start a YouTube channel on specifically that and document that. That's one thing, one aspect that I haven't been talking so much on my channel, because I talk so much about investing and money. But
Hmm.
another aspect of my channel that I would like to talk about more is the whole solo parenting, and so talk about that. I think I did 1 or 2 videos about that in my 30 and 30. I'm hoping to do maybe 1 or 2 more before
Hmm.
the end of the challenge. But going forward, I would like to do definitely more of it.
Uh-huh.
And so that's one thing as well, right? And so even the single mother by choice is not so much even just for people who are like single mother by choice. It could be for any woman who find herself being single parenting when she was coupled before, right? So that's also an opportunity right there. So there's so much, and don't be like, oh well, there's already so many people doing it. There is no
But
point of
it's
you
not
doing it.
you.
It's not you. Like it's not you. The way you're going to be saying it is going to resonate so much with someone. And
Yes.
honestly, for me, even if my YouTube channel, they're like, you know what, you just transform one person's life. I'm like, good, good. That's one person more than I would have never, touched had I
Really.
not started the YouTube channel. So, and yeah, and honestly, content creation is where the future is going. At the end of the day, when you hear what like people want to hear more about people who are doing things that they want to do, and follow them and support them and inspire, be inspired by them. So content creation is becoming big and big, and that's where the future is when it comes to, I guess, like, social media and whatnot. So again, you have to choose where you want to be at. Some of that is really a lot of fluff, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
But you're going just to choose where you want to be at and who you want to follow and how you want to make things happen for you. Yeah.
I was smiling at you when you was just talking about other women creating about single about trust. What did I tell you when you went?
I know, I know. Danny was like, okay, this is such a great opportunity. You should document how you actually doing the whole going abroad to give birth. And I'm like, oh no. But you know what? Again, this is like I say, we make mistakes and we learn. I already had 3 children. I'm not, we'll see. But if someone is listening to this and that's something you want to do, I promise it will be of value for you to have, let's say, a playlist where you really share the journey. It doesn't have to be the channel just about that, because that will happen and then what, right? So, but it could be a portion of your platform, and I promise you that that will inspire a lot of other women who want to do it.
Oh,
Yeah. So don't be like me. Do it.
yes. Well, and hopefully we have in the future, because when you do move abroad, you'll have your little ones, right? So
Correct.
maybe you can journey,
Yes.
journal with us and let us know
Mhm.
how is it going moving abroad, and
Yeah.
when you and I encourage you, and please share when you get ready to make that, say, okay, this is the date, and you start planning. Share what that's
I
like.
will. I will. And you know why? Because I have to say, in the community right now of Black women wanting to move abroad, not many of us have young children. And, a lot of us have children, but they're grown. So it's fine. We can go. And, or like, we don't have children. But not many of us have young children. And that's an additional layer of challenge that you need to figure out if you want to move abroad. And that's another thing that, sometimes you hear people say, I'm just gonna wait when my child starts college, or
Mhm.
when my child starts university. And I say, I have practiced delayed gratification for my investments for 15 plus years,
Right.
and I've practiced delayed gratification for my dreams for probably my entire life
Okay.
until now.
All right.
And I just got into my 40s, and my 40s are not going to be delayed gratification when it comes to me
All right.
realizing my dreams. And so my kids, they're coming along with me. There are kids everywhere in any country on this earth. There are kids, and they're
Right.
perfectly fine. They are fed, they are clothed, they go to school. You just have to do your homework, connect with families that are down there, and everything will be okay. Guess what? Your kids will even thank you, because
Yeah.
you expose them so early to another culture, another way of doing things, another language.
That they'll pick up readily
Now
because
they'll
they're
pick up.
young.
Exactly. So yeah. So when I hear people say, "Oh, no, I'm just gonna wait. My kids are young and everything," I'm like, no excuses. For me, no excuses. I'm like, no, that's not happening. With the help of God, in God's grace and everything, this is really something that is close to my heart, and I'm seeing it as within the next 2 years happening for us as a family unit.
I'm celebrating you on the sidelines, like, yes, 'cause if you do it, you give us, the rest of us, hope, and all of you
Yes.
out there who are doing it. So it's like, yes. So speaking of future plans, I'm just going to go back a little bit. So in
Mhm.
November of 2023, you touched on this. You organized the Wealthy Black Women Summit. You cover a range of topics, right? From health to finance. Could you share your future plans for any summits that you may be having coming up, or something similar?
So when I organized the summit, I just did not know how it was going to be received. And Danny, when I tell you that I was shocked with the reception, like how the community responded to this
Yeah.
summit, I was I was really surprised, like pleasantly surprised. And so my goal, even before I did the first one last year, was to make it an annual event.
Okay.
because I want this summit to be the place where Black women come together to learn, to share, and build together when it comes to wealth building. And last year we focused on any type of wealth. I don't know
Mhm.
if we're still going to be doing that because, like I say, the money part is really the most important for me. But at the end of the day, they say whomever is healthy only has one wish to be healthy. Whomever is not healthy, sorry, whomever is healthy has many wishes, and then
Yes.
we can name them. But whomever is not healthy has only one wish, which is to be
Yeah.
healthy.
Yep.
So I feel like
Yes.
there is like a case to still dab onto other type of wealth like physical, spiritual,
Hmm.
mental, because those are the foundations. I feel like the money part comes at the top because money will only will just like make more of who you are. So even if you have the money but you're not healthy,
Mm.
I don't know. What's the point of having it? So there are like some stuff that I feel like are really at the foundation of the wealth, I guess, pyramid, which is going to make sure that your system stays in place. So this year, I haven't chosen the topics yet, but probably I'll say it'll be 50% on the money part, which is the financial wealth,
Hmm.
and 50% on other part of wealth. And so it's a 1 day event. It's very intensive. I have to say, last year
Uh-huh.
we started at 7 a.m. with the workout. So we had a workout from 7 a.m. to 8, and then we started at 9 for the sessions, all the way to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with just 1 hour break in
Okay.
between. So it's a packed day, but honestly, the feedback that I've gotten has been out of this world. And I mean, I can't thank enough the Exodus Summit Committee, Stephanie Perry, Rashida
Yes.
Dow really supported me as well in me launching this summit. I could
Uh-huh.
have never done it by myself. So, as you can see,
Yeah.
my YouTube channel is still very new. I don't have that many subscribers, but I got a lot of traction from getting support and getting shout out from other Black women content creators who have a larger audience. So that really helped me to do that, and definitely, you know, is also convincing me to come back and do it again this year, bigger. So this year I want to
All
five
right.
the number of participants. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, awesome. Speaking of which, all those of you who watch the replay or you watching right now,
Yes.
give Sam some love. She's growing her YouTube channel, and I definitely support her. So if you go over to her channel, subscribe, like,
Yeah.
if it's for you, right? If it fits for you, you love what she's saying, I'm encouraging you to do so.
Yeah.
She be dropping some gems, and considering that you reached Coast 5, it's like, I
Exactly.
didn't even know what Coast 5 is. I was like, what is that? Okay.
Yeah, and just to mention for the Wealthy Black Women Summit for the 2023 edition, the replays are still available, and they're available until the end of February. So get on it, get on it.
All right, you heard it. Mark your orders and share this video and or her videos with someone that you love that could benefit from what she shared today, benefit from her channel, and just shout out. Love.
Mhm.
This is in this series. I'm celebrating Black women such as Sam and being a history maker. So
Yes.
again, like and share with some other woman who can be inspired by
Mhm.
Sam's story, right?
Mhm.
And all that she shared today. So, and speaking of which brings me to another question. Are there any sort of specific topics or other initiatives that you plan to explore in the coming months?
So definitely, like I said, I'm going to be talking about solo parenting.
Yep. Okay, that was
'Cause I
fun.
think
Uh-huh.
that's important to talk about it. And also, I was raised in African, Beninese culture, so in Africa, and coming here in North America, I've seen there's some stuff that we do when it comes to money back home that people here don't do.
Mm.
Just to give an example, I don't know what's the name of it, but like we call it susu. It's like like you have like 10 people coming together and contributing $500 each of them. So that's like for 10 people, 5,000 each month, and one person collect the pot every month. And so back home, people use that a lot, like to pay for the kids' school. They will time they'll put it. they'll put themselves at the time to collect the pot at the time they know they have to pay for school fees or like
Yes.
for business loans. And even I'm part of one like that here in Canada. You would
Okay.
think that, essentially I don't need it here in Canada, but actually I've been doing that for a few years for various reasons, and that has been working well for me. And people have done it to put a deposit on a house, business loan. So one thing that I'll be exploring a little bit, and probably will be part of the summit as well, is all of those uh, money structure that we have
Yes.
on the
I,
motherland or like within the Black community that
oh,
we can leverage to really help us as we actually build into wealth. Because sometimes, a lot of people maybe they new immigrants in Canada, so they don't have the credit to go and get a mortgage, or like they don't have enough money yet to make a deposit.
right.
But when they're part of that kind of system, of course, trust needs to be there
Right.
essentially, and you guys put the money together and they collect, let's say, whatever,
Right.
$20,000. That is a deposit on the house. I
It
mean,
is.
maybe it's not today, but anyway, that could be a solid deposit on the house, and then that person uses that to access the house that they want. It would have taken them
Interest free.
much longer, interest free. It would have taken them much longer to actually put that money together on their own. So being part of a system like that, which is very informal, of course, and comes with its own risk, um,
Right.
but it's really a way to help each other in achieving what we want to achieve, without having to go to the hassle of paying interest, your credit score, all of those things, which have their own right of to exist, but sometimes
Right.
they don't work for us. The system doesn't work well for us, so we need to not be afraid to have our own system and leverage it.
Yes.
Yes.
I am so glad you mentioned that. I don't know what the formal term that they call it here, but when I first started working in my current employer, we had something called a birthday club.
Mm,
And so the birthday club was 26 people because it paid bi-weekly, and we all had to pick a date.
yeah.
And everybody chose which birthday club you want to be in, the $5 birthday club, the 20, and you got it close to your birthday date. So I'm familiar with that concept, but I don't know if there's a formal name for it.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing. I'm not
you
sure.
you brought it back to my mind. I was like, yes, that is a way. It's not called crowdfunding. I could be totally wrong. Somebody know it, put it in the
Yeah,
comments
exactly.
what
I'm not
it
sure.
is.
Yeah, I
A
only know
crowd,
the name back, which is in French is tontine, and then I've heard the term susu, which they use more in the Central Africa.
okay.
But that the concept is the same, but the name, depending on where you are in the world, the name is different.
That is ingenious because you're not relying on a system to help you to finance something. And I heard of something similar in other communities where uh, they want to build a hut house. We're talking, more or less less developed countries, but maybe this person in this community in their hut, for example, want a stove, whatever their
Mhm,
stove
mhm.
is. So everybody gets together, contribute money, and then to everybody in that community
Yeah,
has a stove, and then they start over with the other goals that they want. So
exactly.
I'm like, absolutely ingenious.
And we can use that system can be used for people who want to move abroad, because a lot of us actually, you know, when you think about it, it's like people don't have the money to move abroad. Not like maybe not permanently, but like if you're taking a sabbatical, a career break, you can, maybe, and you really like, it's hard for you to save on your own, and you're
Right.
part of that type of system, and then you put yourself around the time that maybe toward the end, and that'll be around the time that you're going to be taking your 6 month sabbatical. And
Right.
let's say you guys contribute $1,000 and you 10, that's $10,000 that you'll be collecting, at the 10th month.
Right.
And then you can go on a sabbatical. If you really someone, let's say like, I cannot save the money on my own, I'll be taking the money from my savings account. Well, take it out of your account so someone else collect it for the first 9th month, and then the 10th month, then that's where you can have your the pot, and then you take it and you take a sabbatical with that, wherever you want to go to. It's an option.
It is. And like you say, it must establish trust, right?
100%. 100%. Yes.
So you're not doing it with people where, you're like, will they do it at the time they need to? And when it's your turn, will it be there? Will they honor the obligation? So most definitely
Yeah.
bring that up. I'm glad that you brought that up. Which as we wrap up here, what would be some other things that you would want to share with our audience today? Of course, I brought you on because I'm celebrating Black women and you're a history maker. I'm super excited about what you're doing and how you're showing up. And it's almost 2 years since we started this adventure.
Yeah.
And what you're adding is so much value. You're touching on topics people might not feel comfortable talking about. You're bringing on guests that are talking about ideas and different ways of investing, earning, and becoming coast-fi and building wealth, right? Which made me think about something you said earlier. It was a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who would say, what did he say? Learn, baby, learn, so you can earn, baby, earn.
Yeah.
And when I heard that many years ago, I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. Learn all you can so you can earn all you can.
Yes.
But it takes, that piece of learning and sharing and implementation of what you learn in order to make it happen. So with that being said, what would you say, last or parting words as we celebrate you this month, my sister?
Well, you know what? Just what you just said. I love that quote so much. The quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
Because that's really what it is about. The whole, investment, getting to investment, and how you want to set up your estate and all of that. It's all about the learning part. That's
Right.
I try as much as possible on my channel to talk about those terms in a
Right.
very simple way so people can understand them and not use too much lingo to not confuse people. But again, it's important for each of us to learn. We had to learn to walk, we had to learn to ride a bike, we had to learn to do our job. And so we can do the same also with investing or anything that we want to do, if we really put our mind into it and our time and energy into it. And
Yes.
the key to that is, as you are learning, you're finding a way to earn. You're finding a way to turn, whether it is going to be a time saving to you, or money saving, or money making, or whatnot. That's a way of earning, right? So,
Yes.
and if you put money in your investment, you go in interest. Compound interest is going to make you earn more. It's gonna make you, like I say, money babies,
Yeah.
because you learn and then you put it in place. Then you earn the right to earn. So it's. I feel like you you just said it. You just said it right there in that quote, and I think it does really. And that's what I really want to probably leave the audience with today. And that doesn't only apply to investment or to my channel or to your channel, but I think it's such a great life quote to keep in mind as we navigate this world.
Right, absolutely. I love that quote. It also goes in line with another quote that I love by Maya Angelou, who said, "When you learn, teach," and that's what you're doing, right? And when you get, you give, and so you're giving of what you know too.
Yeah.
Might not necessarily be physical giving, but you're giving knowledge, you're giving your time, you're giving all your energy, because you don't have to do it. Let's be honest. You can be like,
I don't have to be here.
I'm coaching, I don't have to do any of that, right? So appreciate the time that you take to do all the things that you do on your channel, the gems that you drop, the content you create, the 30 and 30. We're going to mention that again. These are some things she's doing right now. She's doing 30 tips in 30 days, right? So, and she didn't know what she was getting herself into when she was doing the 30 days.
No, I did not. And you know what? That's one thing, that don't try to understand everything all the time before you start doing something. I'm not talking about investment here, but sometimes we want to move abroad, and then we need to have a plan that is like flushed out from A to Z before we go. No, don't do it. And like I told Danny, if I had realized the amount of time and work that were into doing this challenge, I would have never gotten into it. But here I am, my 20th day, and I was able to put 20 videos so far. And again, I just want to give myself that permission.
Yourself, all right.
Well, yeah, definitely tap on the shoulder, but also permission in case I miss a couple of them. And I'm like, I'm already 213. I've already done 20 out of 30, which is great. Usually I average one a week, maybe two at most. But here I am, 20 videos in 20 days. And hopefully 10 more to come to close this challenge. So
You'll
don't
do
wait
it.
all the time in life to have everything perfectly, you know, clear, and just sometimes just do it, and trust me, you're gonna figure it out as you go. You'll make the best out of it. You'll figure it out.
I've heard it said, just decide to do it, and then everything else will be added to you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So again, I commend you what you're doing. You're doing your 30 and 30, and you have another upcoming event that's on February 15th, which is,
Yes.
what name of that one again?
So that one is Money After Dark, the
Money
series.
After Dark. So make sure you go over to the channel. It's actually on From Lack to Legacy. She already has it up there for you to be notified.
Yes.
So that should be absolutely awesome. Woo, I can't wait for that. That's it. Last but not least, so those are all those your upcoming events. So do you have any more?
Yes, so on February 21st, I will be having a live on my channel interviewing money strategists as well. And she's a Gen Z. I think she's a Gen Z, much younger than us.
Okay.
But I just love her style. I haven't put it up on my channel yet, but I will do that. I love her style, and she agreed to come on my channel to talk about money. And for me, that's what I like also, to have also that wide range, because I'm in my 40s. So usually people who look at my videos and interact with my channel are around my age, but I also want to make sure that I'm also sharing that information with the younger generation, because one thing that I realized really worked for me is because I got into investing early, in my early 20s, mid 20s. I was in it and I did not budge. I continued, I was consistent. Yes, I had ups and downs, but that's what helped me, at 40 last year, to be like, I'm post five. So the time component, I cannot get it back. When you're 40, you cannot go back. I'm not saying it's too late, but
Right.
if I can somehow already build a bridge with Gen Z, and really for them to understand the importance of doing all that at an early age, I think, it's already half of the battle that is done. So that's what she does on the channel. And so I really want to have a conversation with someone who also talks about money here on YouTube. So, subscribe to my channel. You guys will be, I'll be putting more information about that as we are getting closer to the date. But I'm super, super excited to actually having her coming on the channel and share a journey. And one thing that I will say before
Uh-huh.
I let you close is that she did one thing that I would have loved to do probably around her age. She quit her job without even having another job lined up.
Okay.
She quit. So that's one thing that I want to talk to her about. How did you prepare for quitting your job at such a young age? How did you navigate what people will have said and
Social
all that?
norms,
And
right.
yeah, exactly. And I want people my age to hear that, because for a lot of people my age, that's not something that we would have done. You don't
You
quit your
like
job.
you don't do.
You have no plan B. What?
Right.
And for her, she was not. It was not to actually move abroad. Nothing. She's still here in Canada. She lives in Canada as well.
Uh-huh.
But that was for her to focus on a passion project. But she still has to
Oh.
pay rent. She still has to pay, food and everything. So how does she prepare for that? And so for me, it's bold. I know for some people it's irresponsible, like I like to say, but for me it's bold, and I just want to talk more about that when she comes on the channel.
Oh, awesome. Yes, be encouraging. I think about that because even if I talk to my elders about that, about quitting the job, they're like, or I mentioned to them, I could retire. They were like, well, you're going to do, what else are you going to do? I'm like, why do I have to do something else? That's that mindset. I just want to
I
sit
can
in my,
just rest. I don't have to work until I'm like 80.
maybe I want to just sit on my baduska.
Yeah,
I don't.
exactly. Yeah. And
If
just think. I just want to think right now. I don't want to do anything.
Exactly. So this idea of being, I'll just put it out there, being a content creator and doing stuff digitally and doing stuff online and teaching and stuff like that, that might be some sort of foreign to those who are older to us. It's like,
Yes.
no, you go to a job at a brick
Yeah.
and mortar, you stay there for 30 years and you retire, then you earn money. So sometimes the concepts can be a little elusive. Like, what does
Mhm.
that look like? What are you
Exactly.
talking about? You need to always have a job and another
Yeah.
job lined up, and it's something
Mhm.
like that. So I totally get it. I totally get it. So I look forward to seeing you interview her and see what she has to say. Because honestly, how she's in her mid 20s or something like
Yes,
that.
mid-20s.
Wasn't even thought about it. I need to have another job because I got bills to pay and I need someplace to stay. Okay.
Yeah, but I had that thought around that age, mid-20s or late 20s, and I was just like, well, no, that's not what you just stay at the job. You make the best out of it. You just keep on going, right?
You're
So
right.
it's interesting to see, like, someone so young doing it, and I just and black woman as well, and young black woman. So I want to talk to her about it. And one last thing that I'm doing this year, also, which you already know,
Okay.
is that I'm doing a low spend 2024.
Yes.
So I'll be doing also a video probably as part of the remaining 10 that I still have left in the challenge, like a recap on my January,
Okay.
because to see how things went. So I have some, I like to say tea time. I have some tea to spill in that video. So
Okay.
you guys
Okay.
will be able to see how January went for me as far as my low spend year going so far. It's like one month out of 12 done.
Okay. Okay. But we already moved through the month, and that was a very special month for somebody.
Yeah, for somebody. That's why I'm like, I'm not doing a no spend January. I can do a low spend, but I'm not doing a no spend because I have my birthday in that month. So there's no, I'm not doing a no spend in my month. Like, no.
You gotta treat yourself, right? If you can.
Exactly.
If you can. Well, happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. And thank you for sharing all the things that you're going to be doing. We heard it, everybody. Share, go, and be notified of what she's doing. And again, I salute what you're doing. I am so inspired of all the things that you're putting out there and helping our community of Black women to realize their dream of financial independence and whatever that looks like for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's different for everybody. Whatever that looks like for you, fine. But living on your own terms and getting the money right. So you can do the thing that the 20-something-year-old did is like, I'm out.
Exactly.
I've heard it called another type of fun. I won't say it on this channel. I try to keep it PG-13 with the it fun or whatever they call it. And so when the stuff hit the fan, you be like, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. Exactly. Yeah, we all need to have that type of fun.
Yes, and yes. So again, I thank you for being here and honoring me with your presence. And
come on, Danny. I thank you for even having the idea of this series, and I just can't wait to see the other guests. I told you, I look at the lineup and I'm like, oh my God, I'm among giants. I'm like, oh, yes. I guess I made it.
So you made the cut, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I made the cut. But you know what? I'm really happy I'm the first, because that would have been super intimidating. That would have been super intimidating for me to go after some of those women. I'll be like, what do I say after so and so has come? Like, it's good to be at the beginning. So then you're like, well, I was the first. I couldn't say everything.
But you know what? I'll be amiss if I didn't say you also inspired me. So I thank you for your encouragement for this as well. And again, taking the time to be here on your last official Friday, a free Friday for you.
I know.
Before you go back next week. And I wish you many blessings. And I know you're going to have it in order. And by the next time, I'm putting it out there, the next time you're on this channel, you are going to be where you want to be abroad. You're going to be where you're going to be abroad. We're going to be having a different conversation.
Right? From your lips to God's ears.
Yes. We're gonna touch and agree. We're gonna have a different conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Reminiscing, like, remember when?
Music to my ears.
Yes. And I look forward to it. I celebrate anybody who's fulfilling their dream to move abroad. I'm on the sidelines celebrating you in my little toe up little fan. Thank you.
You should have told me. I would have I had something also that you can clap like this.
Oh, you know what? I have that. I'm gonna have to get that out right. But thank you so very much. Again, I salute you and celebrate you as a wonderful Black woman in brilliance and all the things that you're doing and showing up for our community and specifically for us. And stay tuned, everybody. Like she mentioned, there is a lineup of others. If you haven't seen, look at my live tab and be notified when we have the next guest. I'm truly honored to have all of you for saying yes, because I feel like, we need to you celebrate your own self. We need to celebrate us,
Yes.
right? Don't wait for nobody to celebrate you, right? Don't wait for the platform. You create the platform and you celebrate yourself, right? So with that being said, many blessings to you and your beautiful babies, and look forward to having you on again. And have a wonderful rest of your month, and weekend too, right? Get a little rest before you go back to.
Oh yeah.
So
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. And again, everybody, thank you for watching. As always, as I say on my channel, let us continue to learn, grow, and share together naturally. God bless you and I love you. Until next time, y'all. Bye-bye now. Oh.